Welcome to the Catalyst Life Coaching Podcast with John Kim and Noelle Cordeaux. If you're inspired to begin your own life coaching practice or just want to learn a little bit more about what it's all about, visit JRNI.co. That's JRNI.co for more information. Your adventure awaits.
So 2018 is coming to an end.
Yes.
How was this year for you, and what are you looking forward to for 2019 as far as changes you want to make personally?
That's such a loaded question, John, on so many different fronts.
Is it too early for this?
Let's get into it. Yeah,
well, people want to know.
People want to know. Okay.
Yes.
Well, let's see. What was the...
Was 2018 long for you? It felt very long for me.
It was 10 years. It was 10 years long.
Yeah. Yeah. So much has happened. Like so much of the last 10 years was squeezed into 2018.
I mean, just think about it. So I drove cross country and then landed in LA in January, moved in with you in February.
Yes.
Trekked back across country in March. And then that began the season of getting my ass kicked until today.
Yeah, it's been a long journey. I mean, as I sit here and think about it and play back the movie, so much has happened.
It's been, and I don't think that either one of us are alone. I've felt that many people have echoed the fact that this year was a really long, hard one with lots and lots of twists and turns. But
yeah, lots of ups and downs emotionally, all of that stuff.
Yes.
Yeah, all the colors.
And my takeaway from it is that I am now a different species of human.
In what way? Because that's exciting.
I am humbled in ways that I have not experienced before, because I've learned that I can get flattened and then stand back up again. And, not many people in life have, let me go back. So for me, I was actually reflecting on it this morning. A friend texted me to see how I was. And I said, I'm not great, quite honestly. I'm not great for a lot of different reasons, but I now have such humility and such compassion for people who suffer and struggle in life. Whereas if I had never had any of these experiences, I would still be cloaked in a very high level of privilege. And not that I'm not, but it blinds you. Privilege blinds you to what true struggle feels like, and true anxiety and true fear. And to have had the experience of 2018, I have been brought to my knees, and I will never, ever, ever again in my life look at somebody who's going through a hard time and say, shake it off. I will say, you know what? I've been there. How can I help pull you up?
What a beautiful, courageous, vulnerable thing to say. You always surprise me in how honest you are, and I think people listening, especially our Catalyst Life coaches, really look up to you because of that, the way that you show up without the veneer.
Well, the veneer is such bullshit, and the veneer keeps you stuck, quite honestly. It keeps you stuck because you're still trying to project your pseudo self. It's not okay. It's not okay. How about you? What was 2018 for you?
2018 was like you, definitely humbling. So much has happened. Everything from personal relationships to almost having a baby to moving. Still, learning how to ride this bike called, business and startup and entrepreneurship. Something I'm learning about myself is that, and and I might try to be a better one, but it's just not in my blood. I'm not a good businessman, and I've never been a good businessman. I don't thrive on like numbers and scaling and all that. And I think where I am the happiest is just kind of getting lost in the madness of creation. And so 2018 kind of forced me to grow up being tugged and trying to be an adult with, with business and all that. And of course, lots of resistance and anxiety and stress. And then, going with you on some of the emotional stuff. But I think that, when it comes to the startup we have, you take most of it. Unfortunately, I'm sorry. You become my umbrella, I guess. And so, yeah, lots of learning, lots of being humbled, and hoping to go back to simplifying in the basics and what makes us happy.
Yeah, I started reading a book again. I read it many years ago, and I never really did it. It's a 12-week workshop book, and it's called The Artist's Way.
Oh yeah, it's famous.
Yes,
I haven't read that, but
it's very
famous.
famous. The concept is that when you lean into creativity, when you lean into the part of yourself that creates, you're really tapping into God, and you are, and you're letting your life force, the same life force that shoots green into the budding, sprigs of flowers into the world, and that you have an ordained purpose to create. And even though I create in the business sense, it really resonated with me, because at some point you just have to get to a place where you say, I need to let go, and I need to let everything flow through and around me, and I need to stop trying to control because it's futile. And that's really kind of, I guess, what I'm going into 2019 with is I'm doing the workbook, and I'm focusing it actually on the work of our company, and the work of our company that I believe to be really sacred is a new way of working without fear, without threat, without micromanagement, without, all of the things that people say makes their life miserable. I'm like, well, we don't have to do that, and we can empower people along the way, and we can teach them life skills, and we can help them, pull your neighbor up in life. And to have that opportunity, well, fuck, I'll fight to the death to keep it.
Yeah, I think that's the new way. And I think that if our company is the vehicle that takes many on this journey of, looking inward, being creative, a little bit of self-actualization, also helping other people, then that company itself becomes a catalyst.
And it's art as well.
And it's art, yeah. So it's not just about business and money, but it becomes its own
becomes
thing.
a beacon for other people to say, wow, I'm ready to jump out of the machine. I'm ready to jump out of the matrix.
Well, now let's talk about 2019.
Yes.
What are you excited about? What are you doing for the holidays? What's your ritual for the new year? Do you, have a list, or would you have resolutions?
So I love the holidays. It's my favorite time of year. I love decorating. I love gifting people. This year, I'm not doing any of my regular traditions. For good reason. So my regular traditions are going to my parents' house on Christmas Eve, where they invite. I grew up on the beach in New Jersey. It's a tiny little beach town, and my mom makes fresh seafood and invites all the neighbors, and there's candles lit throughout the front yard, and it's really just spectacularly special. And then on the 21st, I always throw a solstice party, a huge party, which
wait for those of us who don't know, what is a solstice party?
Is the shortest day of the year and the longest night of the year. And on the southern hemisphere, it's the opposite. It's the summer solstice. And for the winter solstice, why I like it and why I throw a party is when I got divorced many years ago, I was actually really physically sick and I was very physically weak. And I had a lot of people who actually helped me, like came to my house and cleaned things, cooked food for me, let me sleep on their couch if I was just too emotionally decimated. And I wanted to give back. And so I threw a party so that all the people who helped me, who I loved, could meet each other and make new friends. And it grew and grew and grew. And at one point, I think there was like 150 people at my house. It was ridiculous. It was crazy. Thank
Wow,
God all the neighbors were there
that's
too.
amazing.
Um, and I've since sold that house and since moved on in my life. And it's remained a tradition that I throw a gratitude party every year for the people in my life. Hmm.
Oh, I love that. A gratitude party. What an amazing
Yeah,
idea.
and this year I'm not doing it, and I'm not going to my parents, and I'm not doing any of the things. And the reason why is because I'm tired.
Yeah,
and
that's fair.
and I don't have the bandwidth and I don't
Yeah.
have the energy. And for one of the first times in my life, I'm telling everybody, sorry, I just want to be in my house with my husband and my dog. And I want to wake up in the morning and make pancakes and hang out in my
Ooh.
pajamas and, drink eggnog and actually rest.
So what I'm hearing
Yeah,
is
self-care
self-care
for
for Christmas.
Christmas.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. What a great reminder. I think a lot of us, because of the spirit of Christmas and giving gifts and running around and hanging out with family, we could easily lose track of our own needs. And suddenly, the holidays are exhausting and we actually don't enjoy them and spend quality time and really soak in the
Hmm.
moments, you know?
Yeah. How about you? What's your holiday ritual?
So growing up, I guess maybe because of culturally, I don't know. My parents never really celebrated the holidays. It stopped very early. So I've always been the Korean kid that was adopted into either friends or later as I grew up, women that my girlfriends went to their families. And so Christmas has always been really big in that way where I kind of, I'm the, I'm the orphan in someone's family. Um, so that hasn't stopped until this year. I'm going to New York and I'm going to experience snow for the first time. I mean, I've been in snow, but I've never been in snow where like you open your door and it's snowing. So going to Syracuse for about a week. And I think I'm going to do the same where I'm craving uh, just very simple things like hot chocolate and slippers and a fireplace. I don't want to, run around and do things and anything I need to rest
Yes,
too
we
myself.
we we both do. We both need to rest. It's been wild. Um, but I'm
Yeah.
glad that we're both resting because then we can kind of, pick up the pieces and carry the ones that we want to keep with us into the new year with intention.
Yeah. What are your goals for the new year? Do you have any resolutions
So,
or do you not like that word?
from a positive psychology perspective, New Year's resolutions are really effective. And the reason for it is
Hmm.
because when you state goals publicly, you're more likely to adhere to them. And so, even though it can be seen as cliche, it's a really effective time for goal setting. And it's kind of like a natural point in the year too. So I'm down with New Year's resolutions. I really have to think about it a little bit more. I'm still kind of in 2018 still, so I can't really let my brain get too far ahead. But um, for me, there's my fitness goal that I've been dragging around with me without really accomplishing it. And I guess kind of sorting out the future in a productive way is my goal.
I one of the things I learned that was pretty big for 2018 was the power of redefining things. So being a student to things like whether we're talking about love, business, friendships, family, and then kind of shaking the tree a little bit and redefining it and see what that feels like to you. Because I think so many of us have these kind of concrete definitions, and those definitions are based on our story and our shoulds and all the stuff up until now that has formed them. And if we can't pour life into those definitions, or if life doesn't match, it instantly brings anxiety. And the thing is that I don't feel like we could change life. I think life is like the ocean. It's not, it's like this majestic thing that's always happening. You can't wrestle the universe, but what you can change are your definitions. And I've learned that in 2018, if you make the choice to start to redefine things or be at least open to them, it lowers anxiety.
Yes. And I,
It's almost like this idea of letting go.
And I love the analogy of water. And you actually just stimulated something for me that I want to put forth as one of my New Year's resolutions. So in the samurai tradition, you tattoo the image of the warrior or the god or the goddess that you want to embody during your lifetime on your back, which is, for those of us who are tattooed, prime real estate, right?
Yeah.
And the samurai tradition also loves the image of the cherry blossom, because cherry blossoms bloom for a very short period of time, and samurai life is often, though filled with honor, violent, and brief. So the cherry blossom is symbolic of living your life to the fullest and embodying the beauty of the moment. And so for me, what I would want to tattoo on my back to honor the samurai tradition is the ocean.
Ooh, I love it. Well, you've always been drawn to the water.
Yeah, and
That's your
if
thing.
I'm thinking about the characteristics that I want to embody, it's water.
Yeah, and the visual I see is when we are open and fluid and open to new definitions, and looking inward, I see an ocean, and I see the beauty and the vastness of the ocean, right? And the freedom of the ocean. When we hold on to old definitions, and especially when we try to control people, because that's something that I've struggled with, or try to get people to do something in a way that, the way that you see it, then the ocean turns into a lake. It's like stale and gross, and you don't feel movement, you have anxiety, and then it's lined with worry and dread, and then you're in survival mode. To actually redefine, or to be open to a new way of loving someone, a new way of entering friendships, or a new way of creating, a new way of doing business, a new way of all of that stuff, I think is it's a game changer. And so for 2019, again, I want to shake the Etch-a-Sketch, create new definitions. I think people should do this every year, And
tattoo their body with symbolism?
Yeah, starting with that, and then and then be open to the new,
Oh, yeah. And I think, though, one of the really beautiful things about this time of year is that everybody is reflective in this way, because it's been so ingrained in us culturally, and it's really primal. It's so primal and central to being human that at this time of year, we all need to rest. We all need to literally physically move inward, to move indoors, because it gets cold out. We need to eat the food that we harvested in the fall, and then we look towards the future when we plant the seeds and start sowing the earth again to produce new bounty. So it's so set in the phases of nature.
Yes. So as we end, Noelle, I need to borrow your left brain. Can you take this little mirage we created verbally and pull out the themes, so we can remind anyone who's listening tips and things to do for the new year? So starting with...
Sure. Starting with 2018 was hard.
Yes. And that's okay.
And that's okay. And it's not over yet. So everybody just hang tight a little bit longer. 2018 was hard. It's good to be reflective and take stock of what you have and what you want. Given that 2018 was hard, it's okay to rest, and it's necessary. And I love the metaphor of the ocean and the lake, where the ocean is expansive and the lake is contained. And when you dip into your internal forest, you have the choice whether you want to perceive your waters as an ocean or a lake.
I love it. So poetic. And also get a tattoo on your back. You forgot that one.
I mean, I have a lot of tattoos on my back, but I'm gonna do the ocean.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love it. All right, guys. Hopefully, happy holidays, and excited about the new year. And thank you for listening.
Take care, John.